I'll go UCF 35 and Kansas State 24.
Wow. Wow. 35-24.
I think that the loss of now this is if these guys, Kansas State's guys, are out. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Knights Sportsnet. It is me, Hunter, and we got G over here. And today we're gonna start off with a little story that G has for us.
Yeah. I got a little story. This has absolutely nothing to do. I mean, it kind of has something to do with UCF football. Um, I'm gonna just go out and say it. So pretty much, we were at the game, University of Central Florida versus Villanova, and we're just watching the game. It's like the third quarter, and you know how like those cheerleaders like do their thing, like the little show or whatever.
Do their thing.
So on the screen, it shows like the main cheerleader guy. It's like this light skinned dude, like curly hair. And I looked at this guy and I was like, that guy kind of looks like me. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't really think much of it. And I actually remember this guy because I went to the basketball games last season. I was like, he kind of looks like me. Um, so, anyways, next day comes, we go to church, and I'm just literally standing there. We were at rally, and one of the moms turns around, looks at me, and goes, "Are you by chance on the UCF cheerleading team?" And then the son just looks at her and goes, "No, no, 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 not even close, not even close." Like his hair was way longer. His hair was like down to his ears. And honestly, I just couldn't, I just couldn't help but laugh. We went into worship like right after that, and
That's all you can think about.
yeah, low key, that was.
Start thinking about what if I was a UCF cheerleader.
No, I'm gonna stick to podcasting. I'm gonna stick to media production. I don't know, man.
Cheerleading on the side.
So, cheerleading and dance is gonna be my side thing. My side thing. Yeah.
Without context, that could be taken the wrong way.
I'm gonna just enjoy like.
You're dancing on the side.
What do you mean?
Oh, you said. Never mind. Just go ahead.
Okay, that was my story. Yeah. I'm gonna be a UCF cheerleader. No, I'm joking. Never.
Never say never. Shout out Justin Bieber.
You gotta say it louder than that.
Shout out Justin Bieber. Never say never.
Oh, okay. I will never say never. Okay.
See, exactly. You already know what I was talking about.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
fine.
We're on the same page. We're on that wavelength. That podcasting chemistry. Okay. All right. So for this episode, we're gonna talk about. Well, first of all, we're finally in conference play. Praise God. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of sick of us destroying teams. I want us to actually compete. We're gonna dive in and kind of recap Villanova a little bit. There's really not much to go over.
Not really.
But what we can talk about is specific players and even Kansas State, because I think Kansas State, well, it's going to be interesting for Kansas State because they got a few players that are kind of doubtful, questionable. However, our starting quarterback is still injured. So why don't we dive in and let's talk about some things, some good things that you saw from the game against Villanova.
So we were actually at the game. If you checked out our Instagram page and you saw the reel that was posted, we were at the game, and we're gonna try our very best to be there at every single game, so we can bring you guys the fan inside point of view of a UCF game. So from our perspective, well, from mine at least, I'll let you say your perspective. But from my perspective, uh, it started off kind of slow and honest. In all honesty, a little slow, but
I agree.
that was a given though because it's a different starting quarterback. It's not
Right.
John Rice Plumlee.
Yeah.
It's somebody who's getting their feet wet, like we talked about last episode, where it might take a while to get used to it. But honestly, once he got comfortable and his teammates showed him that they have confidence in him, that he was able to really trust his arm and sling it as far as he possibly could. I mean, he probably could do it farther, but like you could see his confidence build up throughout the entire game before he was taken out after they were blowing out Villanova, which we expected to happen. What I will say is that I'm impressed with how the defensive line stepped up.
Yeah.
Um,
More sacks.
yeah, like we said, more sacks.
More sacks.
More sacks. Even given how I didn't hate on the defensive line. I was just expecting more.
Critiquing them.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah,
right.
I was just wanting to see more, and I saw more. And yeah, Villanova is a FCS team, but at the same time, it's still a Division I football team.
Right.
There's still guys that are out there competing as well.
You got the talent.
Yeah, I mean, you're there for a reason, and so the defensive line did step up. I was very impressed with that as far as defensive standpoint. Offensively, I liked how, like I said before, how McLean was able to trust himself and get the ball in everybody else's hands. It wasn't just targeted towards one person. It was very balanced, and I like how Malzahn's offense is being ran where it's balanced and he's not just sticking to one thing, because we have the ability to surprise people with the receivers on the outside if they can get their hands working and be able to catch the balls that are being thrown their way and not have as many drops. That's a big critique that I would say. I think we're past the defensive line. I am past the defensive line as of right now. My thing that I'm looking for next week or heading into Big 12 play is how are these receivers going to fare well, and are they going to be able to catch the balls that are coming their way and not drop them? Because Big 12 environments are different than the American Conference environments.
Absolutely.
These are
vibrant schools.
Yeah.
Vibrant schools.
When we go to, like, we're going to Kansas State. Kansas State is a team that is the reigning Big 12 champion. They beat TCU, and TCU went on to play in the national championship game.
Yeah.
So even though they just lost by a 61-yard game-winning field goal, they still were a team that was competing last year, or still competing this year. But yeah, that's my perspective. What's your perspective on the game?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you with pretty much everything you said. I was very impressed by Timmy McLean. I think really in the first few drives of the game, it was clearly obvious that he was still trying to get used to it and still build his confidence.
And that's a given.
Right. I mean, even though he had a few throws in the first game against Kent State, he was really able to distribute the ball to his teammates. Like Javon Baker had a 25-yard touchdown catch. It was like an outside post. Phenomenal throw.
Yeah.
By Timmy McLean. Like, I honestly, just the style, and he's a lefty. You don't really see that much with quarterbacks.
That's also true.
The style and the form, I mean, it kind of reminds me of a Michael Vick almost, because Michael Vick had a very good arm. Definitely not one of, like, the better quarterbacks in the NFL, but I would say the way that he threw the ball kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, I would say, though, my biggest person who I was very impressed with was Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Hudson has really stepped up these past two games. Boise State was not as well as we would have wanted to see. I mean, Colton Boomer was the star of that game. However, Kobe Hudson does have back-to-back 100-plus yard games, and I think he needs to continue that. He did a great job last game of finding space, separating himself from the DBs, which that's going to be important for Kansas State because, in my opinion, Kansas State's last game against Missouri, they were lacking a bit on zone coverage, and so I think that paves a good opportunity for Hudson to get out there. But overall, and another thing is we had I think that was our first pick. I think. Nakai Martinez.
I think so.
He jumped that route beautifully.
I called it too.
When did you call it?
No, before the play happened. I don't know if you mean you said after it happened, you're like, oh, we need to talk about this on the podcast. Well, I called it.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
Something
about like the spacing, or I don't know.
Yeah. So if you don't know me, I'm a big sports nerd,
Sports
fanatic, whatever you want to call
Sports
it.
analytic.
Yeah, we'll say that for the sake of this podcast. So basically, I watch a lot of film. Like in my free time, I watch a lot of film. I'm always watching SportsCenter, NFL Network,
You're absorbing.
NBA and ESPN, like all the things. I'm watching all the videos on YouTube, and I've been that way since I was like 4. Since I learned how to use a TV remote, I've been that's all I've been interested in. I'm not really a big TV show guy. Like those are the things that I'm watching, and so when I'm sitting at a football game, obviously I'm enjoying it, but at the same time I'm breaking it down as I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And so I saw the play developing. I saw the way that Villanova was lining up, and I saw the way that our defense was lining up. And I was just like, I had this feeling. It's just like, I think that the corner is gonna, he's gonna relax a little bit. He's not gonna pressure up. He's just gonna back off a little bit, and then he'll let the receiver go by. He'll take on the next man. The safety will come by and shift over. And luckily, he shifted over and got the pick. And I was just like, I called
You
it.
predicted that.
And
You predicted that. The IQ.
A little, yeah. Toot my own horn. I did a great job.
You're gonna see more of that, by the way.
Yeah.
On more episodes, because this is a big IQ level. We need that on this podcast.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that might have been the first pick.
Yeah.
There should be more to come.
And our offense was able to capitalize. The thing that number one pet peeve is when my favorite team, like my team, we interception, fumble, whatever. Maybe they go for fourth and 10 on their own 30, and for some reason they go for it, and we can't score. We settle for a field goal. But what's his name? Jordan McDonald was able to punch it through for the score. So yeah. But overall, though, I feel like the first game against Kent State was kind of a reflection of last year, like the way we played last year a little bit, especially on offense, because Plumlee ran the ball quite a bit, and one of those, I wish I could have seen him throw the ball more. However, and it doesn't. I mean, I know Plumlee's injured, but I'm starting to see our offense slowly kind of develop a little bit with McLean.
Yeah, I mean, it is the beginning of the season, and it's a new quarterback.
Yeah.
You got to adjust a little bit because you're used to a certain game plan / scheme with one quarterback because you got to work around his tendencies, and now you got to do it with McLean.
Right.
And so, like we talked about last week, Villanova would be a great, I don't want to say exhibition game, but it almost was like an exhibition game.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, and
it was a game you were supposed to win. It was a game that would give you a win on the schedule.
Yeah. Well, Boise State and Kent State were like that too.
Wow. Almost.
Boise State should have been like that, but
yeah,
that's beside the point. Shout out Colton Boomer.
Again. But yeah.
Yeah. I think the last thing we could probably talk about before we move on to Kansas State and just some more question-based topics is, you might have already touched on it, the defensive line. The defensive line and the tackles for losses.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it was better.
Very pleased.
We needed more sacks, and we got one of the guys. Yeah, Matthew Alexander, filler for Ricky Barber, who's actually injured. He had a sack. He's a sophomore, and it was in like the first quarter. So we were very.
That was a big sack.
Yeah, the hope is that the defensive line can get up to level like the secondary. Because the secondary, we got great DBs, we got great safeties.
For sure.
If we can get up to the level of the secondary, that'd be great. But anyways,
moving on to Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State, and I think you definitely know more about it, more about Kansas State, and more about Big 12 teams than I do.
All right. A lot of pressure there. So Kansas State coming into this game last week, they played against an SEC team in Missouri. Kansas State at the time was ranked 15th in the country. Came down to the wire. Came down to a 61-yarder. which is pretty impressive.
Shout out the kicker.
Yeah. 61-yarder, 3 seconds left. Absolutely nails it. Missouri crowd rushes the field. That's awesome. You know, it's a great feeling. I don't know if we'll ever get there someday. Maybe. I don't know.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it, to be honest with you.
That might be a hot topic.
Ooh.
Anyways, besides, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Ooh.
We're getting there.
We're getting off topic.
But like I said before, Kansas State is a team that last year won the Big 12 championship, beating TCU, who went on to play in the national championship game and got dismantled. But still, they went to the championship game. They beat Michigan. Sorry, Blake Conkling. Not sorry. I had to.
Isn't Sierra a Michigan fan too?
Yeah.
Sierra follows our Instagram accounts.
Oh, well.
So both of you guys.
Just hitting everybody. But yeah, it's a hard blow for UCF because if Kansas State was still ranked and say we go into the game and we dominate and we win, that looks really good on our record. But still, even though if we do win, we do pull out a win in Manhattan, Kansas. It still will look good because it's our first Big 12 test. It's our first Big 12 game.
Yeah.
And be a great way to go into the season, especially with our home opener against Baylor, where I believe they advertised that Shaq was going to be performing beforehand.
Yes, they did.
Big Diesel.
Oh, man. Homecoming.
Yes, homecoming. So I'm going to read some stats. Total yards, UCF has 617 versus Kansas State's 464. A more breakdown of that, UCF has 318 passing yards on the season versus rushing is 299. So that's pretty balanced. And then Kansas State, 293 on passing and 171 on rushing. So we got them on both sides. So luckily our offense is able to capitalize and be able to just I don't want to say rely on the offense to do so, but if the offense can produce as well they've been producing in the first 3 games, then we should be able to handle it. Now defensively wise, we are allowing 283 yards a game versus Kansas State's 314.
Really?
We are allowing 166 passing yards on the season and 117 rushing yards. Kansas State is allowing 264 on passing, which is very important given how we just talked about the receivers, and only 50 rushing yards, which is also important given how our running back core between Harvey and Richardson have been able to put up some big numbers. Kansas State is coming into the game favored, however, even though we have the better stats. Coming into the game with a betting line of -4.5. Kansas State is favored by 57.9%. That's what it said the last time I checked on ESPN.
We have to do some predictions, by the way.
The game or just like stats in general?
No, like to the game.
Okay.
Like the first episode? Oh.
You just want to get another W.
No. This would be fun. We predicting the game would be fun.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like I read off, Kansas State doesn't have the best stats compared to UCF, and yet they're still favored in that game. Still favored in the game, and so like as a fan, that might kind of tip you off and be like, well, why is that? Well, this is UCF's first big test. UCF is has played against Kent State, Boise State, and Villanova. Kansas State has already played an SEC team, and the SEC is known for football. I mean, that's just plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's football country.
That's a good point.
Down here in the South, it's different, and so the SEC is like the big dog, especially with Georgia winning back-to-back national titles and Alabama being as well known as they are. And all the other teams, for example, maybe not Vanderbilt because they're like the armpit of the SEC.
Vanderbilt. Oh, I toured Vanderbilt. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I did tour Vanderbilt. Hey, they got a decent facility, but the athletic director at TMA said that it's actually the worst facility in the SEC. But that just puts it into perspective, though, how legit the SEC is at football.
Exactly.
So,
Kansas State coming into the game, they also have lost their veteran linebacker, Daniel Green. He is out with a pectoral injury. Pretty sure he's out for the whole season. Pretty sure he just had surgery yesterday. This is Wednesday, so I believe it was yesterday on Tuesday. So he's out for the season. Team captain, senior, and everything. Heartbreaking loss. Prayers out to him. Obviously, that's a low blow for him. It's a good thing for us, but it's never a good thing when someone's season is ended. But it's especially so early in the season.
Yeah. He's a senior, you said?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's the senior captain too.
He's a menace, though. I mean, maybe NFL, maybe NFL potential. Dude's a menace.
Maybe. Kansas State produces some pretty good linebackers.
Yeah.
Their running back, Trayshawn Ward, he's doubtful with a hamstring injury. We'll see how that goes. And Will Howard, who is putting up some impressive passing yards. He is questionable. Now, whether he plays or not plays a factor in where this game might go. If he happens to play, it's a different story. Kansas State has an opportunity to throw the ball at will. Our secondary has the opportunity to step up, but you never know. He's been very impressive and has been turning heads. So, if he plays, everybody's just going to step up. If he doesn't, great for us, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have so far on Kansas State. It should be a fun matchup to watch. I'll be watching it. Pretty sure he'll be watching it. We might be in the same place watching it.
I'll be watching.
I don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
But yeah, it'll be a great test, especially the first Big 12 game going into the season. This week is when the season officially starts. Like, everything else is out the window.
Yeah.
We're starting 0-0 right now.
Nothing else matters. Like, Kent State, Boise
That Missouri
State.
loss that they had last week doesn't matter.
Yep.
It starts right now. Because if you dominate in your conference, you have a better chance of making a big-time bowl game. Maybe even the college football playoff, which is at 4 teams right now. But it'll expand to 12, which would give us a better opportunity the more that we are hanging around the Big 12.
More that we develop, too.
Yeah. We're not there.
Well, we everyone would have said back in 2017 that we were there.
Yes.
But every other fan gets super ticked off when they hear UCF fans go, yeah, we were national champions.
It can go back and forth. It has its reasons. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I think
I can't say certain things on this podcast. But.
Well, Scott Frost said that when Scott Frost was coach, he said that UCF should have gotten in, but for some reason they didn't want really UCF to play. They just wanted the big SEC schools to play. They didn't really care about any American athletic teams play. That's what his opinion was. Whether that's true or not, I have no clue. But you can't say stuff.
Yeah, I can't.
Alrighty.
Because I'm sick of this podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because of Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah, we get that. We get it.
I can't say something.
Yeah. I think really, two things for me with Kansas State before we get into predictions. Number one, their tight end is big, strong, and athletic.
Big 12 for you.
Yeah. Ben Sano, I think is how you say his name. I just elbowed this thing.
Yeah, like it was nothing.
No, it didn't hurt. It wasn't that hard.
That's what she said.
Okay, Joe. Anyways, that'll be up on Instagram and YouTube. Ben Sano, 2 touchdowns last game inside the red zone. And
red zone defense.
Yeah, red zone defense is important, but UCF is actually not too bad at red zone defense. So I'm not really too concerned. I have faith. But anyways, I think really last game he was a big X factor for them against Missouri. I think this game is going to be absolutely no different, especially since the game is in Kansas. So be on the lookout. However, our secondary is solid. But at the same time, this is the Big 12. This is not Kent State. This is not Boise State. This is not Villanova. This is legit. This is real deal big man football. And then my second thing is that our offensive line is going to have their hands full. Because last game, it was third down. Missouri had the football at about midfield. It was 3rd and 11. And Kansas State rushed 3 defenders against 5 of Missouri's. And somehow they were able to sack the quarterback within like
and that's SEC,
3 seconds. That's SEC for you. So we're going to have our hands full. Offensive line, we're going to have our hands full. We got to protect Timmy McClain. Have to. It's crucial.
Unless you want to use another quarterback.
Yeah, we're already down one quarterback too. So keep that in mind.
There's only so much that we have.
Right. I mean, well, we got a big depth chart, low-key. I think we have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks.
Yes, but there's also inexperience.
That's true. Yeah.
I'd rather have 3 quarterbacks with experience versus 6 with inexperience.
That's a good point. No. Point is, protect him at McClain. He's got a great arm. He can throw the football. Yeah. Anyways.
Going to some questions. I got a question for you if you want to start there.
Okay.
So last week we talked about confidence level in Mr. Timmy McClain, and if I recall, I believe you said a 4.
I did say 4.
And you said 6?
You said 6, yes.
Now, we were talking about this earlier. I just want everybody else to hear. Where's your confidence level now? And be honest, because I heard what you said beforehand, so.
He didn't ask me this before the show. So I'm gonna say 7. I'm going from a 4 to a 7. You don't seem pleased with that. What's your...
No. I'm just saying because I said I was a 6, and you were kind of like, I don't know about that.
Well, because I've never seen the guy play. He played at USF. He had more No offense to him, but he wasn't as good as he is now.
True.
When he was at USF, but that was like 2 years ago.
However, based off of what I've seen, he is a system quarterback, just like Russell Wilson is, and that's why he's not doing so well. But I think that Timmy McClain is a system-type quarterback, so if he's in the right system, he thrives. If he's not, like he was at USF, not so good.
Yeah.
Because you should not be having more interceptions than touchdowns, regardless of how you're throwing the ball. But yeah, Gus Malzahn really has a good way of exposing quarterbacks in a good way and being able to provide a balanced offense. I mean, he did coach Cam Newton in the BCS National Championship game against Florida State back in the day. Or no, Oregon.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Dang. Okay.
And Cam Newton's a system-type quarterback too.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, that's why he's not in the league.
So does that mean? So where's your confidence level now? Has it gone up, down, or the same?
I might go up to a 7. I'll go up 1.
Okay.
Because it's Villanova, and I'm not. I know it might seem like on this podcast like I'm trashing Villanova football a lot. I promise you, it's that I'm not trying to make it look like that. I'm just saying that this game was an obvious win. Like they should have won, which they did by a lot.
Yeah.
And so, this is a great game to see what he can do in person with the right system. And I was content with it. I wasn't blown away because I expected them to win. I expected them to do good. So that's why I went up to a 7.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with Kansas State because, it's a different animal over there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So let's go into some predictions.
Oh boy. I'm 0 for 1.
So Hunter's 0 for 1. I'm 1-0. We didn't do one for Boise State
Or
Villanova. However, since this is Kansas State and it's the first ever Big 12 game the UCF's playing in, we have to do them.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? What are you thinking? This is gonna get real interesting because of just how many additional factors you got to think about. Like their quarterback probably not gonna
Okay.
play.
We'll just. Oh, God, that's so true.
Yeah, bro. Our quarterback.
Their
It's our backup.
quarterback.
Our backup. We have a backup quarterback.
Okay. I'll go. Okay. I'll go UCF. UCF 35 and Kansas State
35. I had to.
I'll go UCF 35 and Kansas State 24.
Wow. Wow. 35-24.
I think that the loss of now this is if these guys, Kansas State's guys, are out.
That's true. Okay. Well, their linebacker's done for the year.
I know, and that's their main piece. So if you lose your main piece, your whole morale is
The whole
just
pie.
down.
You lose one piece, the whole pie is. that was a bad analogy.
I was wondering where you're going with that. But yeah, I mean, this is how I'm viewing it. If their main guy's out, if LeBron James is not, if we take LeBron James from the Cleveland Cavalier days, in the first few seasons when he took them all, he put them on his back, he took them all the way to the finals. You take that piece out, and the whole morale is gone. You take a star player on your team and you take him out, the whole morale is down. UCF is a very balanced team where there's not that one person where you take one person out and the whole team's down. You could argue that John Rice Plumlee is that guy because he's a big time captain and a heck of a leader.
Yeah.
I might add. But they're still very balanced to the point where everybody's still on track and are thriving in the offense that Gus Malzahn is putting out there. And so if they don't have their big arm, their quarterback, and they don't have their running back, and they don't have their linebacker, I don't know. That's why I say 24. They'll get 3 touchdowns and then a field goal. That's what I think.
3 touchdowns and a field goal. Okay.
7, 14, 21.
Yeah.
24. Yeah. Just want to make sure I get that correct.
Did the math right.
Math's not my strong suit. Even though I'm good with stats. Math is not my strong suit. And when it comes to that, the quick math. I'm going to write my predictions down just so that, it will be on video, but at the same time, I'll just put it down. So let's give your prediction.
Okay. Oh, man.
Yeah, the pressure's on now.
You see, okay, I really hope that we carry momentum into this game.
That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, I'm going to say,
I could probably go a little bit lower. Oh well.
if anything, the game's gonna be really close. Okay, I will say this. It's not gonna be a high scoring game.
Really?
Not like 50 points. There's no way.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah, I would say UCF.
This is pen to paper right here.
21. Kansas State 35. Kind of close to your prediction, just flipped.
There's no faith in UCF.
I have faith in you. Okay. This is okay, I gotta be honest. Of course I love UCF and I want to see us win. It's just I just don't quite know yet. Like, my confidence and my trust towards them for a Big 12 team is just not there yet. Like, I know that we've played good against these great schools and it's got us prepared, but I feel like some of our players, the question is, are our players going to step up when the pressure is on? Because I feel like there have been some moments this season where...
I feel like a better question is, where do you see UCF at the end of the season? Top of the Big 12, middle of the Big 12, or the bottom of the Big 12?
I'd say middle. Because
I think that their biggest tests tests, plural, not just one, will be Oklahoma, Kansas State, and
They don't go against Texas. That would be a
no, no,
huge
no,
one.
yeah, maybe Baylor. But as far as the rest of the teams go, based off how the rest of the teams have started, like Oklahoma State and Iowa State and West Virginia, those teams are more likely at the bottom. So I would give a win to UCF for those ones. This one, up in the air. But if mine, like I said, is if their main guys are
If their
out.
main guys are out.
If there was in, it would be a different story for me.
The thing is, though, is like, I feel like, I don't know, our players really, the true stars will play well, like when
If they're stars.
if they are
when the lights come on.
they are true stars when they can thrive when it's hard and when there's pressure. Meaning we got to catch our passes, we got to make our blocks, hit our field goals. I have complete confidence in Colton Boomer.
6 for 6.
I have complete confidence in Boomer. But to be honest, like, I don't know, man. Like, this is really a big step just for the UCF football program as a whole. I mean, I grew up watching UCF football. Like, I watched us go from the Conference USA to the American Athletic. Like, and I watched us, play against some teams that we had never played before, and we were able to do well against those teams. And we beat Baylor a long time ago in the Fiesta Bowl. However, that was a completely different era. I mean, completely different era. That was like 10 years ago. Yeah, put that in perspective. But
I feel old.
Yeah. But I think though, like here's the thing, like 35-20, or what did I say? I said 35-21. Yeah, That's like not bad though. Like you can really learn from that. You can really build off of that.
Yeah. So we're going into Big 12. Who's gonna end up? I don't know if you've done a whole lot about the rest of the Big 12 besides UCF. So because Big 12 is starting up, we'll do Big 12 predictions. Who will be in the Big 12 championship game?
Who will be in the Big 12 championship game?
Yep. This isn't the SEC where it's 2 divisions, so it's just everybody all together, the 2 best records.
Oh yeah, like American. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say right now, definitely. I'd probably put TCU in there.
Really?
I'd probably put TCU in there. I'm thinking TCU in Oklahoma. What are you thinking?
Not that.
What are you thinking?
Well, TCU lost in their first game to Colorado. If you remember that.
That's true.
But you did say TCU.
But Colorado was a Power 5 school, though.
Yeah, but I think it might be a rematch, or not rematch. I think it might be a revival of the Red River showdown between Oklahoma and Texas. Both teams are currently in the top 25. Texas is currently in the top 4 at this moment in time. Oklahoma is 16, I think. Could be wrong.
That's a much better prediction than mine.
But Texas beat Alabama. That's a big deal. Even though Alabama almost lost to USF. Absolutely crazy. I was watching that and during the middle of the game, to be honest.
That was wild. That was wild.
But yeah, I think that it could be just a Red River showdown, Texas and Oklahoma. Especially with, the way that Kansas State has been playing. Kansas has been playing good. Baylor almost beat Utah, who's a top 10 team currently, even without their star quarterback. Should have won, but they didn't get a pass interference call. So yeah, I think that those are the top 4 teams. UCF is not there yet. They can get there, just not now. Especially not having their star quarterback.
Well, he's going to be gone next year, though.
Could be. He
Yeah.
could just.
Because he's
He
a
might have an
senior.
extra year because he got injured.
Yeah.
You can redshirt.
Yeah. I don't know if he's already redshirted, but
I don't think so.
yeah. Nah, I don't think he has. So he can have an extra year.
So yeah, I'll say Texas and Oklahoma.
I got TCU and Oklahoma.
So yeah, Dylan Gabriel in the Big 12 championship game. How about that?
Former
UCF
former
quarterback.
UCF quarterback. I mean, it's proof that we got the talent.
Just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think there's. Can't really say the worst team because we haven't done Big 12 yet. Like, I mean, we can, but
Worst team in the Big 12?
yeah,
Oh. I thought it was Iowa or Iowa State.
could be right now.
Yeah, that's
Very much so. And they used to be on the rise, and then all of a sudden they just dipped down. It's probably because they lost Brock Purdy.
Hmm.
But yeah, you got any hot topics?
No, I don't think
I
so.
thought there was one in the very beginning of the episode. Now I'm completely blanking on
No,
it.
I remember what it was. It was if I don't know if we should keep that for this episode. I feel like we should save that. No, we should save that for next week because next week is a home game.
True.
Next week's a home game. Yeah, we can save that for next week. Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we're all done.
All right, we're all wrapped up.
Thank you for tuning in for episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Drop any comments that you have, any questions you might have, any things you want to see in future episodes. Let us know on all the different platforms, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.